Okay, so I'll bring you now the second part of the historical origins of the MCEO teachings by Ashayana. It's part 2. We left off at, I think, humanity's dark age, lost civilization, forbidden history, and that sort of thing. So now we're going to continue from there on. If you're here for the first time and you come across this video, please listen to MCEO Teachings Part 1 before you proceed to this one. So the whole objective of why these Leviathans and the fallen angelics wanted to dominate Earth is for the Templar stargates. It's precisely why they're competing, why there's Illuminati groups competing historically and to this day. And that's what they want to achieve. They want complete dominion. Now, the progressive orchestration of denying sacred knowledge to the masses and falsifying human historical record, as you know, that most of the conventional religions are being twisted, or were twisted, in order to serve a purpose for them, and that is to, well, first of all, is to prevent ascension of humans. And you know, they need us to be here because we have the key codes to access the stargates through which they can access. Obviously, they do want the dominion over the stargates, so they need us here. We are the keys for those stargates, and through us they can achieve that, and only through us as a guardians of Earth. And secondly, if we ascend, they don't have access to the Christic spiral, which means they can't ever ride the Christic spiral wave, and that means they need a source for their continuity, for survival. And we are their Lush energy. We are the reason they will continue to exist for another, number of years, or whatever that number of years might be. It's still infinite. It's a finite. I meant to say not infinite, finite, which means it's got a limit. So through the process of forced hybridization, and through the process of looshing on our fears and our emotions, they get to obtain that energy that they need, that they're unable to access directly from source. So they need us to be here. And so for that to happen, they needed a way to do that, to access our psyche without telling us what they're doing, without revealing the method. And that is to falsify historical record and bring all those false religions forward. While they promote also extensive overbreeding and overpopulation through historical forced interbreeding, distorted teachings, distorted spiritual teachings, and manipulative science. So they're not only twisted religion, they also distorted spiritual teachings and falsified science, bringing us pseudoscience. These things have occurred and are still occurring by meticulous contrived design carried out over many generations since 25,000 BC by the Illuminati human hybrid races, following the directives of their off-planet, interdimensional, extraterrestrial elderkin. So that was all part of their plan. Nothing happened haphazardly. Now, the reason the MCEO teachings were brought fast-forwarded to humanity, brought very, very fast to humanity, is because the Guardians knew that if nothing is done, if they did not intervene, and if the Illuminati races chose to progress with their plan, which we have many reasons to think that they did, and they still do, then during the next stellar activation cycle, which is a cycle between 2000 and 2017, I think I said 2007 in my first video, which is an error, so please forgive forgive that mistake. So 2000 to 2017, it's called the SAC, the stellar activation cycle. So if the Guardians did not intervene, then both the angelic races and the Illuminati human hybrid race of Earth both would potentially face extinction as a result of the Illuminati master plan. Thus, the non-intervention by the Guardians was not an option, so they were forced to intervene and bring forward the information very, very fast so that we can get out of this predicament. Now, the ancestors of contemporary humanity entered their dark age, or what might be also known as Dark Night of the Soul, during the 13,400 BC, 10,948 BC, and 3,470 BC periods. They're fairly contemporary, considering, we go back millions and billions of years with this knowledge. During each of these periods, the Illuminati elders, they employed what is known as the Atlantean bloom of doom death sciences. So they're the science technologies that were used in time from Atlantis and the pre-ancient warfare. And these death technologies, or death science technologies, they run on structures of crystal implant networks. So these crystal implant networks are utilized, and they're implanted in certain positions in Earth, in various locations all over the Earth's core, crust, and mantle. And what happens is when they activate these structure of networks, crystal networks, it creates an electromagnetic harness within Earth's Templar stargates and the electromagnetic structure of the grid lines. Now, this power can be very dangerous because this harness has the power to directly affect the function of Earth's geomagnetic field through influencing Earth's core resonance. And the resonance means vibrational rhythm, or the Schumann resonance. And what it does, it ultimately speeds the pole wobble. So what that creates is a slow rotational cycle of the Earth, 23.5 degree tilt geographical axis, and it creates a precession of the equinox cycle. So equinoxes and solstices, they're not organic, they're not natural for the Earth cycle. They were created as a result of the Earth's wobble to a 23.5 degree axis, and that's what created these cycles, the equinox cycles, which called precession of the equinox cycle. So yes, it's not a thing that existed prior to these technologies being brought forward. These precession of equinoxes cycles did not exist before that. Now, the Templar events of 13,400 BC resulted in a brief collapse and a temporary reversal of Earth's geomagnetic field, which caused climatic anomalies and further loss of Atlantean island territories and DNA mutation in the planetary life field. Now, the Atlantean continent, what was known as the Atlantean continent before, was reduced to 3 island nations following the cataclysm in the period of 28,000 BC. Earth's geomagnetic field directly affects the DNA and the memory storage of biological life forms, all biological life forms, through the interaction with the epigenetic overlay, which is the chemical sheath around the DNA, which triggers DNA gene response. So, in human populations, the DNA mutation resulting from this anomalous environmental event of 13,400 BC caused a first of 3 biologically induced memory wipes and fragmentation of portions of DNA into what pseudoscience now calls junk DNA. only because what does not code as protein or code for protein in our DNA, they term it as junk DNA because they don't understand that it's got a function and a biological purpose. So they basically reduce it to junk DNA. And that loss of race memory, very diabolical, really terrible. In 13,400 BC period, both the angelic humans and the Illuminati humans were actually simultaneously reduced to primitive, perceptual state with loss of historical, practical, and language memory. And more significantly, the mutations that took place in the human DNA began the process of reducing both the angelic human and Leviathan Illuminati human gene codes to common mutation, which leaves the unplugged genetic differences termed as junk DNA. They remain turned on in an active DNA sequence. So through the new common gene human that resulted from this common mutation, the Illuminati hybrid humans and their off-planet elderkin could more easily interbreed with the now amnesiac, angelic human races, because we've forgotten who we are, who carry the Diamond Sun Stargate DNA. Diamond Sun Stargate DNA. As a result of that, there were new bloodlines, blood types emerging following this period as Illuminati elders interbred with humans of their respective genetic lines and of the angelic human lineage in an effort to enhance the family Stargate DNA profile. Now, one of the other technological things that they did was, following the events of 13,400 BC, this technology resulted in activation of an environmental anomaly. It's called the net. Net means Niburian in reference to Nibiru, electrostatic transduction field. Niburian electrostatic transduction field. It is a multidimensional electromagnetic harness that runs through the Van Allen belts in Earth's atmosphere and through Earth's crust and mantle, which creates and sustains anomalous distortions within Earth's geomagnetic field and within the biomagnetic fields that govern DNA behavior. So, as above, so below, as within, so without. What happens out there happens in us, and that's just how it works. And so that created a massive distortion within the human DNA, and within the human DNA, specifically the part that governs DNA behavior. So behavior of the DNA started to become erratic, and there was a lot of new races were created and hybrid races as a result of DNA just not being, well organized. And also through the net distortions created in the 13,400 BC period, Earth's core resonance was altered as well, resulting in the first of three slight acceleration of Earth's geographical pole axis wobble. Now, this slight acceleration of Earth's axis wobble created over a period beginning in 13,400 BC, the first of the three corresponding slight accelerations of the precession of the equinox cycle from 26,556 year stellar activation cycle to a faster cycle to about 25,920 years. So it's accelerated by 636 years as a result of that pole axis wobble. Now what happened is the net field then began a natural acceleration of Earth's time. So here we have the time running at a faster rate, And progressively what that did is pulled Earth's Templar further out of co-resonant alignment with the organic universal time cycles and stargates. Now this resulted in many phenomena occurring that were detrimental and specifically were affecting the stargates of the Earth. So we have a portion now of Amenti stargate and a portion of Earth Templar and the three-dimensional matter plane field becoming contained within the electromagnetic harness, within the net, which is separated and divided from the portions of the Amenti stargates and plane that were outside the net previously. So there we see an unnatural division of Earth planes created an anomaly of higher and lower Earth. Both shared the same three-dimensional frequency spectrum, but the time pulse within that common frequency spectrum became different, became very divergent. So the planes and the three-dimensional matter base that were contained within the net field, that became the lower Earth. And that's was controlled by the Illuminati net. And the planes and the three-dimensional matter base that remained outside of the net became the higher Earth, or the Ascension Earth. The biological ascension was still possible from the higher Earth, but not the lower Earth, because its portion of the Amenti stargates and matter planes remained on the 26,556 year equinox precession cycle, through which organic SAC, which is stellar activation cycle, Amenti stargate opening cycles occur. Now we have the lower Earth and the higher Earth, and we have, for instance, the higher Earth field, the spin speed of the subatomical particles and atoms were different to the lower Earth time pulse, which was unnaturally accelerated, because the higher Earth time pulse remained consistent with the greater, yet longer, and slower time pulses. Within the lower Earth net field, however, it entered into a slightly inorganic acceleration of contraction and compaction, and the wobble became a little faster, causing days to shorten slightly, and created the bulge at Earth's equatorial poles more pronounced. And so the biorhythms of the life field quickened, as did the elemental decay rates, and the DNA of lower Earth's life field become entangled with a magnetic grip. While the territories of the higher Earth had a slower and more expansive time pulse, they didn't experience any of these environmental or biological anomalies. Now in 10,948 BC, progress in MCEO Bio-regensis efforts and what is called the Atlantean Freedom Movement both were brought to a standstill when the Illuminati elders employed massive applications of the Metatronic death sciences to score the second and most catastrophic victory in the advancement of their master plan prime objective. So around 13,000 years ago, in approximately 10,950 BC, the Illuminati elders used the Metatronic death sciences to finally fulfill an objective they'd been trying to achieve for millions of years prior. Now, from the Atlantean islands of Brua in the southwest territories of Atlantis, which are now called Cuba, Puerto Rico, and Haiti, the Illuminati elders, with the assistance of from the Illuminati human children, used Metatronic Death Star Merkaba vortex mechanics. Death Star Merkaba vortex mechanics. And we still see that movement today in the New Age movement, using the false Merkaba to activate. in reversals, of course. So they created these reversal systems, and that created a set of wormholes called the Solar Time Torus Tunnel. And this wormhole set was linked to the core stargates of lower Earth and our Sun, to the corresponding stargates of parallel Earth and parallel Earth within the parallel Milky Way galaxy black hole system. So they funnel the energy from here into the galaxy black hole system. Now, once the Earth-Sun Solar Time Torus Tunnel wormhole sets were opened, they were extended into the Alpha Omega wormholes at the galactic cores of the Alpha parallel Milky Way galaxy and our Omega Milky Way galaxy, opening an intergalactic space-time displacement field called the Great Toral Rift Time Rip. I'll say that again, the Great Toral Rift Time Rip. Through the approximately 10,950 BC, Atlantis center of intergalactic toral rift time rip, the core stargates and geomagnetic field of our Sun, and the net harnessed geomagnetic field and holes of mantis stargates of the lower Earth were all inorganically linked to the geomagnetic fields and the core stargates of parallel Earth and parallel Sun. Now this is huge, massive. The total rift linking of the parallel Earth-Sun systems pulled all the Templars of the lower Earth and our Sun further out of co-resonance and disharmony and misalignment with the organic universal time cycles and higher Earth stargates. And it brought it into direct alignment with the subjugation to the inorganic space-time distortion cycle of the parallel Milky Way, which is called the Alpha black hole system. And so many things had gone out of harmony, and we see also and another thing that happened was Illuminati cycle of the false yugas, which if you look into Vedic science you'll learn about the yugas, and they're the unnatural cycles of time that we pass through. They're not natural, so they're created as a result of this massive rift. If the Illuminati master plan was successful, the period of 2012 or 2013 AD would bring Earth, humanity, to a final cataclysmic appointment with Illuminati destiny. Now, during this appointment, our solar system, our parallel solar system, would engage in an inorganic metatronic desktop Merkaba vortex dimensional blend within that total rift time rip, which would have caused a massive and a rapid mass extinction of all life on both systems, on both solar systems, and we'd be drawn back in time to the Atlantic times, 10,950 BC. Now, when lower Earth and our Sun became linked to these parallel systems through the Atlantean solar time torus tunnel and total rift of 10,948 BC to be specific, lower Earth's orbit around the Sun accelerated slightly, and that shortened the organic lower Earth year, became more synchronized in a counter-rotational way with the invisible orbit of parallel Earth around its Sun, and through the wormhole links between solar core gates and our solar system, also created an inorganic binary star system invisibly tethered in the parallel solar system. And so each year during the spring, vernal and fall, autumn equinox periods, the parallel Earth alpha wormholes would open directly into the harnessed lower Earth Amenti stargates for a period of about 2 weeks, allowing for easy Illuminati elder passage and visitation between lower and parallel Earth. Each year during the winter and summer solstice periods, again for about 2 weeks, the solar time Taurus tunnel wormholes would engage the gates of lower and parallel Earth in a brief alignment with the intergalactic Alpha Omega galactic core wormholes, allowing the Illuminati elders direct wormhole passage to lower Earth from various regions of both Milky Way galaxies. And so this prompted the Christic races to intervene, and so following the Toro Rift event, and what resulted in which was climatic and time cycle anomalies, the Atlantean culture continued to evolve under increasing Illuminati controls, who will come through those wormholes often, and force their visitations on the Atlantean people, and force them to do things they didn't want to do. So that increased Illuminati control forced the MCEO Crystal River Aquafarian races to intervene through what? Through the higher Earth portals, to bring in the Aquari-human hybrid lines on lower Earth for Bio-regensis with the angelic human gene code. And so in 10,500 BC, Illuminati humans waged the Luciferian conquest, during which the Atlantean islands and immediate control of the lower Earth evolution fell to complete Illuminati dominion. So Christic races lost this one. And in 9562 BC, Atlantean Illuminati humans overthrew the Crystal River Aquafarian Lower Earth Templar intervention attempts in an event called the Great Encasement. And again, the Atlantean Illuminati humans formalized their planetary dominion plan in creation of the Luciferian Covenant, One World Order, Atlantean conspiracy agenda. And in 9558 BC, their Templar conquest misadventure culminated in widespread flooding and the final sinking of the 3 primary islands of Atlantis. As the Illuminati Atlantean Templar conquest progressed on lower Earth, various factions of Illuminati elder races and their earthbound children engaged in competing Templar dominion agendas, and that resulted in grid wars, each competing Illuminati elder group intending to control the lower Earth's Amenti stargates, and thus the intergalactic Toro Rift time rip during the 12,012 appointment with Illuminati destiny. 2012 appointment with Illuminati destiny.